Hello everybody, this is Diane. I have a bunch of stuff here. I'm at my sewing machine and I have a whole bunch of stuff here to show you and to work on, and I'm working on the vintage fashion journals. So let me just start by saying that I did yesterday add 2 more pages to the hats and accessories digital kit, and I got that uploaded last night, so that's in my shop now. I forgot that I needed to show this to you, so I already cut this piece out. But we've got more gloves, and this is I believe it's got a bird right here, and the plumes. It's made out of feathers, and I believe it's to decorate your hat. And these are winter scarves. Aren't they lovely? And the hats with the scarves built in. I wish we still had stuff like that. This one is actually a cluster of curls of fine quality hair. Natural curls made of fine quality human hair and mounted on a silk loop. And there were other ones that had really long curls that they would wear over their shoulder often or down their back, but the pictures weren't very good of those. They just looked like animal tails. So I liked this one that had her modeling the cluster of curls there on the side of her head. So that's this page, and then there's more hats and more gloves. These are the unembellished hats, and some belts and stick pin type of things, plumes to decorate your hats with. So those 2 were added to what I showed you yesterday, and they are in my shop. And then I decided I needed to have some more ladies because I'm doing 2 journals. So I went ahead and took the time this morning. Instead of being in here where I wanted to be, I was working on getting some more ladies cut and scanned in. So I have another set of ladies. I do have to scan them in tonight, but hopefully they will be there by the time you see this video. I have to put them in my shop is what I mean. So we've got some ladies here with these little card things come in very handy. And there's a tall, slender lady, and there's one in color. These do require fussy cutting, and I've been doing a lot of fussy cutting. This is a pretty picture. This one goes this way, but I had to turn her upside down so that her hand could fit in there. I kind of manipulated them the best way so that I could get the most images on them. And this one is a pretty colorful page. At first I thought she was standing in front of a mirror so you could see the back of her coat, but then I realized the skirt color is different and her hat is different. So it's a different woman wearing the same coat. I think they're exiting a door and she's turning around saying goodbye to her hostess. That's how I imagine it. But they're wearing the same coat and you can see the back of the coat. I thought that was a clever way to show the back of the coat. So that is Vintage Fashion Ladies Set 2. And I had to get them in this video so that I'd be able to start cutting them up and using them. What I've done so far in the journal, I'm only working on the one right now, is I stenciled on the back of the digital papers, and then I added some Mod Podge napkin pieces to some of the pages, just a variety of different pages. I had a bunch of pieces of napkins that I had used the majority of on other projects, and I wanted to start using them up, so I just randomly, I used flower images, but I just scattered them on some of the pages. And then on the digital pages, there are 6 pages in this journal, 6 digitals in this journal. I just took my really thin laces and added them to the edges, both edges, and there's 5 different laces used. And I think that's kind of all I did, except I did add this pocket here. Oh, I did add another pocket too. This is a coffee dyed paper with a plastic doily on top, and it was a scrap. So I just used that and cut this image out from my digitals and glued it on there and stamped Special Moment. I added this little tuck spot here. This one isn't dry yet. It's not as porous paper, so I can't stick that in there yet. I did have all these in order, but then I had to take them out of order so I could do the Mod Podge. Oh, here's what the other pocket I did. This is like a fibrous paper. It's quite thick. It's thicker than mulberry paper, and it has a lot of fibers that have a luster to them. And I cut them with some decal edge scissors. And I cut some music paper with decal edge scissors, and then added this shoe ad, which is in my shop. I think that's all I did. So now I have a couple of things I want to do here. The first thing should be pretty quick. I took this image from my Hats and Accessories digi, and it's got these two pairs of gloves connected. So you can cut them apart and use them as individual tags, but I kept them together and folded it so I could make it into a booklet. And I have 4 lined pages here that were scraps. And I'm just going to sew them down the middle. I already inked around my cover, front and back. And that is done. I'm not sure which journal it will go in, but it's done. Okay. Another thing I wanted to do was, I was thinking about adding these as belly bands. So I cut out a couple of the images of the pretty hats, the ones in color, and punched out a circle, stamped a background stamp and inked around it, and then if I glue that on and then glue this to the belly band, and I inked around everything already. And then I have this green one. I thought about maybe adding some lace to them before I add them to a page. But first I want to select the page so I make sure I have the length right. And I don't have these in their order anymore, so that helps me figure out how to space things. But obviously I can't put it on the front of that, so I think and the other one, the other book page, or scrapbook page I mean. Do I only have 2 scrapbook papers in here? Because this can be written on. I don't really like to cover up writing space, but there is so much writing space in here. There's a lot of blank paper. Yep, I just have 2 scrapbook papers in here. So this is on the back, so I want to put this one on the front of this one. I think they'll be all right. So I guess we can pick out some fabric, or lace, to go down the center. These I chose for something else, pulled out for something else. So I need something not quite so thick. Then I'd have to run ribbon through that. It's a possibility. I'm trying to find ribbons that aren't flat on one side, that are symmetrical. Here's one. I think this is symmetrical. Yep. I think that's good enough, and then you can still see the paper, the pretty paper behind it. Okay, we're going to use this lace. I did cut these to go on scrapbook paper. I just wanted to make sure that I was actually going to put them on the scrapbook paper. The scrapbook paper pages are bigger than most of the other pages in the book. Alright, now I'm just going to sew this lace onto my belly band. I brought my glue over so I can glue her down and then glue the circle on it. Now it doesn't have to be in the center. It could be up. I think I want to trim this. I don't like it sticking off so far. Her shoulder. Oh, my paper scissors aren't over here, so don't yell at me. Yeah, I'm just going to put it in the center. Sorry, I got distracted. Let me just look for a little tiny doily or something. Maybe I'll put a little something on there. Oh, I put my little ones in a container. That's right, when I was organizing. Sometimes I organize, and if I don't use the things I changed right away, I forget what I did with them. It's a little tiny one. And then I'll have to put a largish card in there. I don't want a little one just sliding around in there. I will set this aside and work on it off camera, because I want to do some fabric pockets too. And I'll just look, or lace pockets I mean, look through my pages and see what I could add lace pockets to. I could add them to pretty much any of them. How about on the wrapping paper? This is a sturdy-ish wrapping paper. That's pretty. It's got rough edges and they're fraying, so I'm gonna cut that off. Now, do I want to sew that to something more solid to give it some stability and also so you can see the lace better? Let's try it out. Let me get a piece of cardstock. I think this is brighter than what I want. Oh. Yeah, it's a little bright. So, I abandoned the scraps. I'm looking in my 12 by 12 cardstock. I do have 8.5 by 11 cardstock, but it's in the other room, so I don't use the 12 by 12 that much. That looks better. I'm sorry. I didn't have what I needed to make a base for my lace pockets. Right handy. So this is how I craft when you're not with me, so here we go. Perfect. I have to sew the lace onto it first. I'll sew across the top. Okay, yeah, I'll just sew it down there. And I think I'll sew down the center just to help secure it down. A little wobbly there, but it won't show up. And then I'll have to sew the bottom down and the sides, but that'll happen when I sew the pocket. Trying to decide if I want to attempt cutting around that pocket a little bit, but I think I better not. to make sure I'm not going over the fold in the paper. In fact, I'm going to come a little bit away from it, so I'll have to trim a tiny bit off the edge, this edge of the paper. I'm going to use a zigzag stitch for the bottom. To prevent fraying. Gotta do the bottom of that again. I switched from zigzag to straight, and when I started sewing, the needle moved position to off of the cardstock. Oops. Okay. That looks quite pretty. Okay, I want to add another fabric pocket to a back page. Maybe it'll be this one. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I think. I pulled this out because I showed you those pretty flounces, soft flounces around the ladies' faces with their collars and things. And I thought, if I did a little, kind of like a fabric flip, but it's just this piece of lace at the top of a page, that would kind of represent that. So I think I'll do that. Oh, here's a piece of lace I could maybe use. Gotta make sure I put the lace right side up. Doesn't matter for this step, but I don't want to forget. I cut this, the width of this, or the depth of this, to match the other lace, but it's perfect for this one. I forgot, I wanted to go down the center. Another thing I thought about doing with these pockets was to take one of my little images. I think I'm going to have to trim that a little shorter. The hat images or something small like that, and yeah, that's the bottom, and glue it on here, but I don't know, that'll come later. That I might embellish with appliques, embroidered appliques or doilies or something. This is a finished lace edge, so it won't fray. Okay. So far in these journals we have stenciling done and decoupage and lace on the edges and a few pockets. So before I go further, I am going to collate my pages into the right order that I want to use them. Oh, I should just go ahead and do this too once I turn the camera off. And then see what else I need to do and figure out a place to put the lace flounce. Maybe I'll have a couple of them. So that's where I am so far. I hope you're enjoying this, and I hope you'll come over to my shop, which I will link below, and check out my new digitals and my old ones. I have lots of digitals in my shop now. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Have a creative day today. Bye-bye.